Drivers, start your engines!
This is MRN Motorsports Monday. One full hour of news, interviews, and opinion about the past weekend's racing action.
Hey, cars turning off. Be ready.
Now here's your hosts, Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
Green flag, green flag.
Motorsports Monday is brought to you today by ModelSpace.com. What a weekend it was at Indianapolis. Kyle Busch sweeps the weekend at the Brickyard, winning both the Xfinity and Sprint Cup Series races, 4 out of 5 on the Cup side now. Joey Meier, that is something to behold right now. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, sports story in the country at the moment.
I honestly thought the biggest sports story was we got a sponsor.
Hey now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, how about that?
Started the show with that.
Well, it'll be trending. That just happened.
Welcome to the show. Appreciate it. What an amazing stretch this has been. A guy coming off what was deemed a catastrophic injury, and the only way we could experience it or give an example was Tony Stewart. And again, we've said before that the injury was so bad that they were comparing it to Tony Stewart's injury on how long and his performance coming back. Everybody was worried about throttle control and this and that. And Kyle Busch immediately puts it to rest by getting the car back in victory lane. His very first start in the Xfinity car. Had no problems. And now in the Cup Series, 4 of 5 wins. He's the best. Right now, he's at the top of his game. You're not getting any better from any other driver at any time than Kyle Busch. The relief that is felt inside that Joe Gibbs camp happened right away with the 1 or 2 wins. But now they are no longer working towards the chase. They're now preparing for the chase.
23 points out of the top 30 at the moment.
So we're going to see that between Pocono and Watkins Glen. We're going to get him in the chase, which somebody on this show said right away.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
right
did.
away.
Yeah.
And so now those guys are switching gears. When he came back and started racing in the Sprint Cup Series and got his first win there at Sonoma, Sears Point a couple weeks back, 4 or 5 weeks ago, they were still working on cars, and their mentality was getting those guys, okay, we still got to get in the chase. We got to make up these points. We have to make up the wins. Now they've transferred that mentality. They're in the chase. They're starting to build cars and have a championship competition caliber mentality moving forward because of what he's been done and doing the last 4 of 5 weeks is just awe-inspiring.
And think about this as well, and I talked to him a little bit and asked him about it. They've not only done this, it's remarkable to win 3 in a row and 4 out of 5 anytime, but they've had 3 different rules packages along the way as well that they've managed to overcome. And remember, it wasn't so long ago that the whole Toyota camp was going, man, we're just down on power. We can't figure out what's going on. A laundry list of things that they weren't feeling where it's going right, and now everything seems to be going their way. Don't forget, Carl Edwards wins the pole in a Gibbs Toyota as well.
Yeah, the top of the mountain is very narrow. So when you're not at the top and it gets really wide at the bottom of that mountain, you feel like it's a long way to go. But the guys, TRD's engines facility is based out in California, which is a very unique challenge for a lot of the race teams because every motor that's in these cars from North Carolina comes from California. They're shipped back and forth. And so a little bit of disconnect happens between the engine shop. Most of our engine shops for Team Penske and Childress and Hendrick, they're all located here. If I wanted to go to our engine shop, I get in my car, drive down the street, and say hello to these guys. Toyota camps, Joe Gibbs and so forth, they have to fly across the country to get there. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. So when they're having off days or their performance is down, it's not an immediate sight to see a reaction where we can go and see our guys working on new camshafts or new heads and so forth.
Right, and get all fired up and,
exactly
walk
right.
across hot coals and everything.
The TRD guys, I have some friends over there that used to work at DEI. Jeff Opel, who's the main engine guy for TRD in the shop, I know how hard they've been working. They hated having engine failures and seeing an obvious lack of power. It wasn't that they weren't trying. It's just that their direction was going a little different. They got turned in direction. Now we're seeing the results from TRD. Strong performances in all 3 series of Toyotas. Toyota won Eldora, Toyota won the Xfinity race, Toyota won the Cup race. They're doing okay now.
And don't forget now, as long as we're piling up the evidence here, Kyle Busch will be back in a truck at Pocono as well. So that streak in the trucks may continue.
Pocono is going to be an exciting race because not only is Kyle Busch going to be in it, not only is the reigning Cup champion of Kevin Harvick in it, but your 2012 Sprint Cup champion, Brad Keselowski's going to be in a truck too.
What's that, two truck races in a row?
Yeah,
What's up with that?
2 in a row. So it'll be a really exciting race. Looking forward to that for all 3 of those guys because it'll be one of the first times those 3 guys have raced each other together in a truck at that track, to say the least, at Pocono. Who has the best entrance, by the way, at the tunnel there.
Yeah, that's your favorite.
Yeah,
I know.
it
looks
is really cool.
good.
Yeah.
And by the way, they have repaired the bump there as well now that they had last time.
You know, and it's kind of funny how the fanfare, they didn't have like a big – I was expecting like a big press conference with pictures. And, I mean, it is social media. I can't believe they didn't say anything. Like, we fixed it.
Well, you know, it was interesting. I talked with a couple of guys this weekend, notably David Reagan and Kyle Larson, who's going to be on the show in just a few minutes, by the way, and – surprisingly enough, they said, no, we liked it.
Yeah.
David Reagan even said he texted Brandon Igdalski, the president of the track, and said, dude, don't take the bump out. I like it.
Well, they end up having to fix it for the Indy cars,
Right.
realistically. That's why they had to get rid of it. Those Indy cars can't take any variations in track surfaces, let alone the Cup cars do a good job. We raced Kentucky. We were looking forward to going back to Pocono with the bumps. This will make Friday's practice at Pocono next week very interesting. Unlike Indy, we go back to the normal package, our standard 2015.
That seems strange now, doesn't it?
Exactly
After all
right.
we've been through here lately.
And the showcase at Indy, right, wrong, or indifferent, NASCAR went in a different direction. I'm not sure. I read a good tweet from Boyer, and what he said was it didn't affect the race. It wasn't the performance that they were hoping for, that the guys in Daytona Beach that came up with this plan were hoping for at Indy, but it didn't affect the race. In other words, it didn't make it the same cars finished. I mean, we look at the guy. Look here.
Good is good.
Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick are the top 3. Okay? Top 3 in points. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano. They're the same guys in the top 2 in points, finished top 2 in the race.
And Kyle Busch has won the most races of anybody. He and Jimmy Johnson.
That's it. So the rules package didn't affect the outcome of the race. We saw the good and the bad because of the rules package, but overall the Indy race was the Indy race. That track is going to produce that kind of racing the way it's been doing since 1994.
A real high-speed, flat track.
When you run a 3,400-pound race car around that facility, it just reacts. It has a certain way, certain personality that Indianapolis has had for those stock cars. It's not our speedway racing like it is for the IndyCar series, which they run around wide open and draft and pack, which is how we race at Daytona and Talladega. That's their handling speedway package like we would be at Daytona. So it's just different. It's that personality. We're trying. Kudos to NASCAR. It just isn't giving you the results that they wanted.
Yeah. Got a big show coming up for you on Motorsports Monday. As we mentioned, Kyle Larson will be along. Speaking of guys who are moving in the right direction, it seems like the whole Ganassi bunch has gotten some extra giddy-up of late, and he finished top 10 in both the Xfinity and Sprint Cup Series races over the weekend. And then what about this story? Bobby Pierce, the guy that had everybody talking after the Eldora truck race, the dirt track regular, finishes second in the Mittler Brothers truck. He'll be along to join us as well on the program today. A lot to talk about on Motorsports Monday, but the man of the hour is Kyle Busch. Had a chance to chat with him in Victory Lane after the race, and here's what he had to say. Kyle, restart after restart after restart at the end of that thing. What was going through your mind?
I think the biggest thing was just, making sure that I got good restarts. Obviously with restarting on the bottom of Kevin there, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I had Joey Logano behind me, and he gave me a great push into turn 1, and when I got clear of Kevin, I was like, oh, man, thank God, this is ours, it's ours to lose, essentially. But we just kept having caution after caution, so I kept choosing the bottom lane there once I got comfortable with the bottom, and I had Joey behind me again. He gave me another great boost, and then finally on that last restart, I had Truex behind me who gave me a great boost in order to get by Logano. So, it was all kind of all over the place there with those last restarts, but it worked out.
In the deepest depths of your rehab, did you ever dream in your wildest dreams 4 out of 5, 3 different rules packages, including the Brickyard and a road course?
I couldn't believe 3 out of 4, let alone 4 out of 5. So this is just such a phenomenal streak and a run that we're on, and I can't say enough about my team. Adam Stevens and these guys, the more rule packages thrown at us, boy, just give it to us. We might be the ones that come out on top every time.
By the way, there's a new hashtag going around, Summer of Kyle. How does that grab you?
No matter what it is, as long as they're talking about me and we're putting it in Victory Lane, that's all that counts.
Kyle Busch after the big win of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can play along with us on Twitter at MRN Radio or me at WI Cain. Joey's is at 2Spotter, the number 2Spotter, and use that hashtag AskMRN to play along. We'll try and get your questions answered as we go along. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, Bobby Pierce will join us after that strong run at Eldora.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
Here comes the field off turn 4, waiting for the green flag. It is in the air. Again, Christopher Bell, quick on the brake, and here comes Austin Dillon racing up to the inside.
Austin Dillon to the inside, makes it 3 wide, tries to pull the slide job on both of them, is unable to get either of them, falls back into third. In fact, he's going to open the door for Tyler Reddick. It's Christopher Bell by a truck length over Bobby Pierce off turn 4.
If Pierce has anything left, let's see what he can do. Here he closes in on the race leader. White flag is in the air. It's a truck length and a half between the top two.
He'll have one final shot into turn number 3. Right now he's trying to build the momentum off of turn number 2 for Bobby Pierce in the second spot. One truck length ahead is Christopher Bell. Dives down to the inside of the racetrack. It's not going to be enough. Bell slides up to the racetrack looking for the checkered flag.
The 20-year-old native of Norman, Oklahoma, Christopher Bell, a dirt track superstar, will win, holding off the dirt tracker Bobby Pierce.
That's the way it sounded from Eldora Speedway last Wednesday night, and what a show it was. It's one of the ones that fans look forward to every single year, and the Dirt Trackers really put on a good show. Christopher Bell won it. Tyler Reddick, a dirt track background, was third, and the guy joining us on the guest line now, the pole winner, finished second, Bobby Pierce in that Mittler Brothers truck. Bobby, congratulations on a strong run, man, and I bet your world has just been turned kind of upside down after that. Everybody's talking about what a show that was.
Yeah, it sure was. It was an exciting race. It was a lot of fun. There was tons of publicity, all the TV coverage. And, yeah, like you said, it's been pretty crazy lately. I've been getting tons of phone calls and everything, and that's pretty cool.
Bobby, you work for your dad has a humongous race shop associated with dirt late models, a great history. You got a really good prodigy and going along with successful dirt late models. So now we're going to transition to a dirt truck in the NASCAR series, and you get associated with Mittler Brothers. How much input going forward to this racetrack did you have on setting up that truck for before you even got to Eldora?
The trucks and what I race are completely different, and they're so much heavier, and when you go in the corners, they just want to slide and they push, and then they get loose, and they're just almost completely different beasts. And, with the help of Rick Wren, he actually helped a little bit on the setup of the truck. And, with Rick and Mike Mittler, it's kind of just between those two guys, and that's kind of how, everything went together.
So give us a little background on how this whole deal came together, and then let's move on to what's coming next. I mean, you're a guy who has just a sterling record on dirt, and we know we're going to Eldora in the truck. So how did you get from point A to point B where you're behind the wheel of the 63?
Mike and my dad, they've always been friends kind of throughout the years, and every time we'd see Mike, we'd just be joking around with him like, hey, when are we going to get a ride in one of your trucks? And, that'd kind of be the joke. And, throughout the years, with all the dirt racing experience that I've gotten and racing super late models was some of the best, Mike kind of, kept his eyes open. And then when Eldora came about, with the trucks racing on dirt, we thought it might have been a really good opportunity to race in it. So once we found that, all that came about, we just needed some sponsorship. And earlier in the year, RPM Services came aboard, and they put up a lot of money for it. And just between them and a lot of the other sponsors, Blue Gold, Roofix, Carto.net, All Gear Incorporated, Sammy Spark Plugs, Sweet Manufacturing, Richardson Racing Products. There's just a bunch of them that, pitched in a little bit here and there, and that's kind of how it all came about. And as far as, other races go, I'm not really sure yet. Hopefully, I don't know, we can maybe get some rides and some asphalt races too.
Chatting with Bobby Pierce, the 2015 UMP Dirt Car champion, shows up at Eldora in the 63 truck. We had the privilege of sitting on the roof and watching some cars similar to your success in the dirt late models, and those cars get into the track. So now you hop in this truck. What was the first thing that surprised you about them?
Well, those things are big old tanks. They really don't want to do anything, which made it really fun, actually, because they were very technical to drive and very touchy. If you got it too sideways, then you're probably going to spin out if you didn't catch quick enough. And in practice, I spun out twice, seeing how far I could take it. And when you go in earlier when the track had traction, it wasn't too bad. And then as it started slicking off, those things, just a lot of throttle control came into play. You could barely get on the gas pedal. And like I said, it was really fun. And, Eldora is one of those tracks where it's always fun to drive, no matter what you're racing in. Just to put it that close to the wall, lap after lap, is a lot of fun.
Now, I know after Christopher Bell climbed out, the winner, he said, boy, I'd like to see more dirt track races on the schedule. How about you?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of good dirt tracks. And, hey, I know just one off my head, Knoxville, Iowa. I think that'd be a really good track. It's a big track. It's a nice facility, and that's just one of them. Maybe the dirt track in Charlotte. I don't know, just throwing ideas out there, but that'd be really cool. Of course, as a dirt guy, I'd be saying that, but I think it's definitely, the fans really get into it. Everything I've heard about it's been good. So
yeah. Absolutely. The fans ate it up.
So during the race, you had to qualify, and then you had to go to a heat race, which you sit on the pole, you win your heat race. You make it look really easy, but we know it wasn't easy. What adjustments or what transitions that took place during the three segments of that race?
The first segment, we changed tires and fuel, and, I was kind of just getting comfortable those first 60 laps. And I was hoping to just kind of stay up front come, the final segment. And luckily we were, I think we were in second coming to the final one. And the last one, the last segment with 40 laps to go, me and Bell and the Dillons, I'm not sure who else, we didn't take tires or fuel. We didn't come in. And we just wanted to stay out because I think, with 40 laps to go, if we would have came in and pitted, then we would have been too deep to come back in that short amount of laps. Yeah. But, those last 40 laps, I think a lot of guys are really going for it. And, I was especially, I wasn't sure when I wanted to really make my move. I was hoping to probably get Bell back on a restart, but I couldn't restart as well as those guys could. So after that, I was hoping, for some green flag runs. And there were so many cautions that kind of hurt us. But, those last 15 laps, I was really going for it. As, if anyone looks at the truck after the race, they can tell.
Absolutely, man. That thing looked like a U when you got done with it. That was awesome, though. That was so much fun to watch. I know we talked a little bit earlier about your phone's been ringing off the hook, but you're not just sitting around the house waiting for the phone to ring. I read somewhere that you're doing 85 races this year. Give folks an idea what your schedule's like here coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah, we normally do about 80 races a year. The past 3 years have been anyways. And, that's with me racing my dirt car, my super late model. And, next weekend we're going up to Cedar Lake, Wisconsin. It'll be for the USA Nationals. It's 50,000 to win. And like last year, I led some of that race and ended up getting second in it. And then after that, I know we're going to another famous race, the North-South 100 in Florence, Kentucky. There's a lot of big races coming up as far as dirt racing goes. And then, I've raced 4 asphalt races so far in my career, and 3 of them have been this year. And then, heck, I've raced, of course, an asphalt car on dirt.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of things as a driver I got to adjust to. I tell you, right after Eldora, we drove home that night, got up and drove to Quincy, Illinois to race my late model at a World of Outlaw race. And hot laps, the late model's all getting up on the left rear and down on the right front. It's like, what is this thing doing? That was one thing I had to adjust back to. But yeah, we race a lot. Heck, it seems like we're going and going and going. And the Summer National Series just got over, which was 28 races in about 33 days.
Wow.
Yet it rained. A lot of those races rained out, but it's still, they call it the Hell Tour for a reason. It's just day after day after day up and down the road. And, it takes a toll on you and all your equipment and everything. And, luckily we became victorious out of that. We won it by 10 points. Coming to the final race, it was a nail biter. So it was cool to win that.
Wow.
You mentioned just briefly a little bit of your late model asphalt experience. Do you have any more of that planned for 2015?
We're hoping. I don't know. Some of the asphalt races I've done were kind of just to get, asphalt experience in case I were to race any more asphalt cars, no matter what it be, late models, whatever anyone wants to give me a ride in, I guess I'll drive it. But, we're hoping, I know some of my sponsors talk about Martinsville for the trucks. That'd be really cool, but I don't know, I'm just going to have to wait and see what we can do.
Wow, absolutely. We're chatting on the guest line now with Bobby Pierce, who took the Mittler Brothers truck to a second-place finish at Eldora and running a very, very full schedule now. And, man, it's just been a whirlwind for you, I know. And there's been all kinds of stuff all over social media and all over the websites. How can folks find out more about what's going on with you? You have your own team site, right?
Yeah. www.bobbypierceracing.com. There's all sorts of stuff on there you need. And heck, we got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything to keep up with me on. And the rest of the year is still, we're still hustling hard for sure. Like I said, there's a lot of races coming up, and hopefully, if I'm somewhere close to you or whatever, stop on by and probably have my apparel trailer there too, and maybe just support us by buying a shirt or whatever.
Absolutely.
Hey, Bobby, at Eldora, had you had a chance to race against Christopher Bell before in any other series?
No, that was the first time, actually. I've seen him race, I think it was about a year and a half ago at Tri-City Speedway. I think he was racing, I think it was one of his MOA sprint cars. And that was the first time I've seen him race. I've always kind of known about him a little bit, and he seems like a really cool kid. At Eldora, we talked a lot, and actually right before qualifying, he walked up to me. He's like, "You're gonna set fast time." I was like, "Well, we'll see."
Yeah, sure did, absolutely, man. Well, Bobby, congratulations on putting on such a great show, and I know you've got a huge schedule this year and continued success in all the different things that you're doing. And look forward to seeing you back on this side very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Bobby Pierce, what a show he put on, and that he was right. He beat the back of that truck to pieces trying to get that victory.
Not many people are aware of the 63. The Mittler Brothers team based out of the Midwest and the St. Louis region has been around the longest of any Sprint Cup Series team of the beginning of the Truck Series. That didn't come out very good. But back in the Camping World and the Super Truck Series, they were one of the original teams formed. They've had a couple of good drivers over there.
Oh, yeah. I've got a list right
go
here.
ahead.
Kenny Irwin, Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, Justin Allgaier, Mike Wallace, Regan Smith, Brad Keselowski,
Exactly right.
and now Ronnie Hornaday III.
Exactly right. So what you have is you have a team in the Midwest that has given opportunities for a lot of young drivers to move on. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the business. But those guys, the Mittler brothers, are known. They actually build a lot of the equipment in the fab shop of all the race teams.
Yeah.
If you go to any race team, whether it's Hendrick,
For their
Team
regular
Penske,
business.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right. They build a lot of your presses and the different devices that the teams are using in the fab shop. I actually have a nephew that works over there, and the nephew right now is living with us, worked at Mittler Brothers as well, so it's a very small world. So you got to remember, Christopher Bell was on our show last week.
He won.
And he won.
Yep.
So I see good things happening with this kid, not because he has a good driving career, but because he was on our show.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's the reason why these guys are successful, because they come on Motorsports Monday, and then they're successful.
All right.
But
I'll go with you on that.
Bobby Pierce, this season, 41 starts. He's got a total of 118 career wins so far in the dirt late model.
Pretty strong indeed. We'll take a time out here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, Kyle Larson will tell us about running both races at Indy this weekend.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Martin Truex Jr. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday. Joey Meier? Is that the Joey Meier, the spotter? Pilot? Joey Meier, pilot, spotter, is on the radio? You guys actually, wow. Can you record this? Can you record this and be like, wow, Joey Meier's on the radio. Unbelievable.
Yes, it is, but it is true. He is here, two-spotter. I'm Woody Cain, and we're on Motorsports Monday, and now we want to bring in a guy on the guest line who had a big weekend at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, top 10 runs in both the Xfinity and Sprint Cup Series. Kyle Larson, welcome back to the program, man. You are a busy guy this weekend.
Hey, yeah, it was definitely, our busiest, weekend for double duty with all the extra practice time with the 2 new rules packages there for this weekend. So it was a hot one, and glad to be out of Indy and cooling down.
Yeah, man, it was hotter than everybody expected there. But the big talk coming out now is, what was your opinion? What did you think about this high drag package that we had in the Sprint Cup Series, and you're going to be running it again in Michigan?
Yeah, I don't know if it raced quite as well or nearly as well as what we all had hoped, ourselves in NASCAR. And I didn't really feel like the runs were quite as big as what I thought they would be going into this weekend. Going to the shop and looking at how big that spoiler was and all that, I was like, wow, we're going to have huge runs. But they weren't actually, that great or really any differently, I thought. Restarts were definitely intense, but once it got strung out, it seemed really hard to pass. There's a few cars I could, seem to pass okay, but I would get really loose whenever I was behind people, probably within like 5 car lengths or so. I'd get extremely loose. So that was frustrating, but it's cool to see NASCAR making, changes to try and make our racing better. I thought Kentucky was a lot of fun. So, maybe we can, bring out the low downforce packages some other places and have some good racing again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are with you on that.
Yeah. One of the things we've talked about is 3 configurations in 3 weeks, but essentially you've had 4 configurations because you were able to run the Xfinity car with that new high drag, big spoiler, big bumper down package. Was that a surprise? Did you show up at Indy and have any expectations in the Xfinity car, and were you surprised at what the drag did on those?
The Xfinity cars to me drove exactly kind of how they did before. Maybe maybe just get a little bit tighter in traffic, and the runs were maybe just a little bit bigger. I thought for sure you could like on restarts you could tandem, like you used to do at Daytona and Talladega, and get huge runs down the straightaways to help the guy in front of you pass the guy in front of him. So I don't know. It's just it wasn't too much different in the Xfinity Series, but the cars were definitely way hotter for sure.
And what everybody always says how hot it is at Indy. What do you attribute that to? I mean, is it just the way the track's constructed and air doesn't circulate in there? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I would imagine it's probably just because the cars are sealed off, so they just get really hot. And the Saturday race was definitely the hottest race I've ever ran, hottest race car I've ever sat in. Sunday wasn't too bad, but for whatever reason, I've always felt like the Xfinity cars are way hotter than the Cup cars. I don't know why that is, but I'm always more beat after a Xfinity race than I am a Cup race.
Yeah, I mean, guys were falling out practically when they got out of that Xfinity race. Kyle Busch has to sit down and get water dumped all over him in victory lane. I mean, everybody, it seemed like, was just spent after that thing.
Yeah, I went and sat down on the pit wall for, I don't know, a few minutes, just because I was nervous to stand up. But, yeah, it was so hot. I ran the last Xfinity race, too, I ran was at Michigan, and I guess you're probably sealed off a lot there, too. But that was probably the next hottest race I'd ran. So, yeah, for whatever reason, they're really hot.
All right, so referencing that Xfinity race, everybody's really, really hot. You start 10th. You were able to drag it up to 7th. What did you need more in that Saturday race to get back up to the front?
Well, our pit strategy didn't work out. We were on kind of a different pit strategy, I felt like, than anybody else. And we made our last green flag stop to put us, good to the end on fuel. And, I think a lot of the leaders still had to pit one more time. And shortly after we pitted, the caution came out and kind of just ruined our strategy from there. So I was sitting 17th and, then had to pass a few cars to get to 7th there. So, I don't know if we would have won or not, even if our strategy worked out, but I definitely think we were a better car than 7th for sure. I thought we were top, 4 or 5 cars. So happy with that. Those Xfinity cars in our shop are getting better and better. I know Brennan Poole, he runs it more than I do, and he's starting to run pretty good too. So I'm having fun again whenever I get in those cars.
Yeah, man, that's great to see and great to hear about along the way. What's ahead for you on the Xfinity side? You got some more races coming up in that car?
Yeah, I have a handful. When would be Watkins Glen, I think, is my next one. And then I don't really know what's after that. I probably have 6 or 7 left. I think they're more towards the end of the season. But yeah, I still have a handful. So hopefully we can get a win in one of those races whenever I run again.
Yeah.
So you got to go to the shop to see the 9-inch spoiler and the wicker being put in. You show up Friday. They give us 3 practices, almost 5 hours on the track. What surprised you about that package when you were by yourself?
By myself, it had a lot of grip. It did last year too. At Indy, the package we had there last year had a lot of grip. But I guess I don't even think it surprised me, but was like I said, just getting really loose in traffic. I don't know how Brad felt, but
I think everybody.
I would get extremely loose in traffic. Yep. So it wasn't surprising, but I guess maybe just the distance of how like I said, I'd be 5 car lengths behind somebody and I'd start getting really loose. Where normally it's just a couple car lengths and you start handling different. So that was frustrating. It was tough to get runs because you get close to somebody and then you just can't put the power down because you're so loose.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started 5th. You finished, again, another top 10 there at Indy. What did you and Shine need a little bit more of on Sunday to get further forward?
Yeah, we were sitting 5th on that last restart, and I just didn't clear Denny off 2. We ran into turn 2 side by side, and I almost cleared myself up in front of him, and he was able to just hang on my right side, and slow me down, and that opened up a big pocket behind us, which allowed Clint Boyer and Matt Kenseth to get by me, and then I got back inside of Matt Kenseth on the coming out of 4, and again I almost cleared him, and almost got back in line, but we ran side by side down the front stretch, and it allowed Kurt Busch to get a huge run on both of us and pass me. So I should have just stayed in line, but I guess when you're not going to win, I don't know, one spot's not that big of a deal. But I was disappointed that we finished 9th just because we restarted in a good spot there at the end, but it just didn't work out for us.
Chatting with Kyle Larson, who drove the Target Chevrolet to a top 10 finish in the Brickyard 400, and we're getting set to head to Pocono this weekend. And Kyle, I was talking to you over the weekend, and you were one of the guys, and I was surprised how many guys said the same thing you did, that you liked that bump at Pocono. How come?
I like it just because, it's gone now, I guess.
Yeah.
I liked it just because it added some character. That track's really smooth and big, so whatever bumps it gets is pretty exciting. And it was easy to make mistakes in that corner, and now I feel like it'll be easy to not easy, but easier to go through there faster and harder to get runs on people. So, but I don't know. And I actually thought the bumps. I'm sure our cars got better, but I thought the bump might have even smoothed out as the weekend went the last time we were there. So. But yeah, I like Pocono. Even when that corner was smoother last year, we were fast. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and having hopefully another good run. I got my first legit pole there last year, so that was fun. And just hope we can go there and have another solid weekend.
Yeah, and a top 10 last time we were there in Pocono.
Exactly
too,
right.
Yeah.
But, just got off the phone with Bobby Pierce, and he was one of the guys out in the Midwest running all those dirt races like yourself. How many races are you planning on running in 2015?
I ran an outlaw race probably 2 months ago at Kokomo. I wanted to run a couple more during the season, but we just didn't have enough. Well, we have enough equipment. We just don't have enough guys and time to put a car together for me to run. But I still need to get permission. But I want to go to Australia during our off season around like Christmas time through New Year's, before Chili Bowl and all that, and run 6 or 7 sprint car races at Sydney. So. That'd be a lot of fun. I went to Australia a couple years ago, different side of Australia, but it's always fun to go down under when it's their summer and do some racing. So that'd be a lot of fun. That's probably what my if I do get to run some dirt races, that'd be my next one. Or I guess there's Turkey Night on Thanksgiving in Paris that I always run. So I'll probably run the midget there with Keith Coons.
So you just had a year birthday for the young boy. What was the first year like of you and Caitlin's presence to the
he's
world?
talked about time. That's where his time's gone right there.
No, that was Caitlin's birthday on Saturday. Owen just turned 7 months old a few days ago, so we still got a while. His birthday is in December.
Oh, okay.
So so if we do go to Australia, we'd probably be celebrating his birthday and then flying to Australia the next day.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah. But, I mean, heck, the first 7 months has flown by. It's crazy. He's not walking right now, but, like, if you hold his hands, he can, take steps and stuff. So it's pretty crazy to see how fast they grow up.
Wow, man. And before you know it, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Dad, can I borrow the car, right?
or a go-kart at least.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Now, as we get ready to get into these last 6 races here before we set the field for the chase, you guys seem like you've been making some strides over the past few weeks, and you're knocking on the door. You and your teammate Jamie McMurray are all right in the thick of this thing coming down to the last few races here. What do you feel like your team, the 42 Target team, needs to make that next jump and get up into this chase?
Well, Jamie's been really good. We've been kind of up and down every week, it seems like. We've had a couple finishes, well outside the top 20 where we just race really bad. But I would say out of the next 6, I guess anything really happened at Watkins Glen. I enjoyed that place last year. But my best shot would probably be Bristol. I think that's probably my best track on the circuit. especially in the Cup car. So I'm excited to go there. It's a fun track, and we seem to always run pretty good there too. So I would think that we're definitely not going to make it in on points. So the 42 car is definitely going to have to win a race, and that'd probably be the one where I would circle first.
Yeah, and it's the clock is ticking. The intensity is ratcheting up as well. A strong top 10 run at the Brickyard and some Xfinity races coming up as well. And young Owen at the house. Kyle Larson, a busy guy. Man, thanks for your time and congratulations on the strong runs this weekend, and look forward to seeing you this weekend coming up at Pocono.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
There you go.
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle Larson. And you know, he talks about the consistency factor, but it does feel like that they are moving in the right direction. They're getting a notch better, a notch better, a notch better.
You see every weekend him and Jimmy McMurray, since they've been together, the crew chief change at McMurray's a couple years back, but him and Chris Heroy Shine, they've been together since the inception of him being over there.
Do you know where that nickname came from, by the way?
Yes, I do. It's
right.
from one of the movies. Remember the kid that threw the football in like Varsity Blues or whatever? His nickname was Shine.
Oh, okay. All right, all right.
And they always said Chris Heroy looked like him. So,
gotcha.
It's back when I'm not saying Brad gave it to him, but back when Brad and Chris Heroy and that group hung out together. Shine. It's been around for a while.
Okay.
Yep, Sunshine. Essentially Shine.
Okay.
So,
all right.
But the Jimmy McMurray's in the top 10 or right outside the top 10 of points. The performance of the 42 is not indicative of the 20th place finish.
Yeah.
Just like Kyle said, they have had instances where they finish and have a wreck or mechanical failure or just run like dog and then finish outside. But for the most part, their performance has been more a top 15, top 12 kind of car, just like Jimmy McMurray has. And all it's going to do is take for those guys to get into victory lane, which, again, the performance of that team will allow here in the last 6 races before we make the chase.
Now, as we mentioned over the weekend as well, it was a sweep for Kyle Busch. We'll take a quick time out here on Motorsports Monday, but let's hear what he had to say about Victory Lane for the Xfinity Series. Put a bow on that. We'll come back, take some of your questions on Twitter, and get to our on-track, off-track segment. So here's Kyle Busch after the Xfinity Series. Kyle, tell us about the ending of that race there. You got Ryan Blaney, then you fade back a little bit, and then the charge at the end.
Yeah, it was a weird ending. You know, you figured there was going to be a Kyle Busch caution, and certainly there was, and it just kind of stacked the field back up. And on the restart, I expected the 33 to get a better push. That's why I got in the outside lane. But, the 22 got a really good restart, and he kind of just got in front of me too much, and I couldn't hold him back. And by then he was gone, and I hung with him for a long time just trying to pass him. We were faster than he was. It's just so hard to pass at this place. You get tight, you get loose, you just can't really get it. But there I then faded back just to try to save my tires and just try to get them back underneath me and give them one last charge at the end. And fortunately there, a couple lap cars kind of got the end of the race messed up, I guess you'd say, or messed up Ryan's momentum. And then I got close enough to pressure him and got him tight off of 2. And once I did that, it really was our saving grace. Obviously it was going to be hard to protect that position with my closing rate coming behind him.
What was the difference with this package, the challenge that it presented to get by him?
It was worse in traffic. Just the handling characteristics were worse than I think what they were last year. You just were really fighting loose, and then once you could get the loose out of it, then you were really fighting tight. There was just really no balance, and I just remember years past, we'd had good balance.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. buildrb7.com. buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Michael Waltrip. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
See, he didn't seem surprised at all that you have a show.
Well, he's heard me talk for a long time.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You've been in his ear before.
Exactly,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yep.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the weekend at the Brickyard 400. We heard from Kyle Larson there on both races in terms of what the new aero package did, the new high drag package. So let's start off. First of all, let's go contrarian. Let's start with off track first. Mine is going to be that high drag package. And once again, On Track, Off Track is brought to you by our new sponsor, modelspace.com. Check them out. You've been hearing all about them on the program today.
Get to build your own cars and race them. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kinda like
You're
a
going to get
small
one,
version.
aren't you?
I'm going to have to look at it.
There you go.
Attaboy,
they got you.
So years ago, we ran a track. It was at Indianapolis Raceway Park. I was actually very young. Got to grow up on Thursday Night Thunder at IRP. It's a track that I always wanted to visit. We get into the NASCAR series. We visit IRP. It becomes O'Reilly Raceway Park, and we put on some of the best truck races, some of the best Busch/nationwide races that there could ever be. I was fortunate to be associated with Shane Meier. We raced side by side with Vickers for laps after laps. We ended up finishing second. Vickers won the race, but to this day, it's one of the best races you can get on YouTube and watch. They take it away from the track. They want more prestige. They want more volume. They bring it over to the big track. 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it may have been, that track and those cars simply have not been able to produce the dramatic results that we've looked for.
Now we had some little bit of drama at the end of it last year with the whole Brian Scott thing at the end,
it's given moments. It's given moments. But when we go back to the fanfare of Eldora, we had 20,000 people there.
Yeah.
But the people loved. They just embraced that kind of facility.
Yep.
ORP, we always had packed stands because it was a just short track, beating and banging. Saturday night mentality. We actually raced there on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
The Indy track has never embraced, or the fans there have never embraced. People go there on Saturday just because it's an event. They're not there for the race.
Now, to be fair, if you put those same 20,000 people that were at Lucas Oil into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, they would be swallowed up because the place is so gigantic.
Yeah, it is the largest track coliseum we go to in the stats of capacity. It holds upwards of 300,000 people.
Yeah.
The next track next to that is Bristol at 160,000. It used to be. Now they've gotten rid of some seats. So when you put 50,000 people at the Brickyard, it still looks empty. Whereas if we put 50,000 at ORP, it'd be sold out.
You couldn't get that many in there.
That many.
Yeah.
I understand. We're trying to take an entity and turn it into something a little bit bigger. But in my opinion, it's not working out for the Xfinity Series. The racing, albeit a new rule package, didn't change the rules. The drivers are getting overheated. It's not producing really good side-by-side and exciting racing, something we can go back and look. We're not going to watch the 2015 Xfinity race on YouTube 5 years from now.
Yeah.
People are still watching Brian Vickers and Shane Meier go side by side at ORP years ago on YouTube because it was a fantastic race.
Yeah, and how about Kyle Larson telling us that was the hottest he's ever been in a race car? And he's been in a bunch of different stuff.
And what's going on there is that bumper extension with the cars traveling, you're essentially
on the back,
on the backside, you're sealing the car all the way around.
And what does that do?
Okay, well the mufflers are underneath. They're creating heat. There's no way for the air to get under the car and allow for it to escape that heat. So the heat's radiating up through the race car. Now, to help the teams out, they've limited the number of NACA ducts or the ducts in the side of the car that we see for driver ventilation to get rid of that. If the crew guys could figure out a way to get rid of that heat under the car, they would.
Yeah.
But they can't because of the rules packages.
They're limited.
They're limiting. The only thing they can control is the ducts in the side, and that's giving the drivers less ventilation. So it's the sealing of the car all the way around, the exhaust of a 600-700 horsepower motor underneath the car. That heat's radiating it up to the race car. It has nowhere else to go.
Yeah. My off-track, I mentioned it briefly, is the high drag package that we tried at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot of drivers were skeptical going in, but to a man, they said, I'm glad they're trying something. We owe it to them to give it a shot and see, and then hopefully we can come to some kind of a discussion point about what we want to do moving forward. We're going to see this package again at Michigan, but you just heard Kyle Larson say it, and several guys said it beforehand. weekend. They thought there would be a really high closure rate. Jamie McMurray said on, I think it was Friday, that if there were two cars side by side in front of you, the guy in third behind him was going to feel like he had an extra motor.
Yep.
And then Kyle Larson says it wasn't quite as dramatic as everybody had been expecting.
Yeah, in 1997, there was a track that was built to mimic the Indy Motor Speedway, and that was Homestead. To try to run 3,400 and 3,200-pound race cars around another track similar to Homestead, back in the 90s when our cars were great racers, they couldn't pass. They reconfigured a track twice since we've been back. That track was built in 1997, has been reconfigured in 3 different configurations, the early version, version 2, version 3, to simply adapt
Homestead 3.0.
Exactly, to simply adapt itself to the race cars. I don't expect the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to adapt their facility, but sometimes you just have a relationship that doesn't work out. And right now we're seeing it with 3,000-plus pound race cars and the Brickyard, because the racing, the corners, they weren't built for that. And no matter what we do, we're trying to force something for these cars to react, and they just simply won't do it.
All right, then let's go back to what Kyle Larson said. Is there a rules package that would make the racing more dramatic at Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Kyle Larson mentioned the low downforce package that everybody seemed to universally praise at Kentucky. Would that be as effective at Indianapolis, or would the track's configuration kind of negate that?
Well, it's an interesting concept, because what we saw this weekend was with the big 9-inch spoiler. If you saw a spoiler in front of you, it meant it was taking the air off. The purpose was so you could get to the car in front of you. Unfortunately, if you saw a spoiler in front of you, that means your spoiler behind you wasn't getting air. You were loose. So you had to tighten the car up in traffic to try to get out. Well, then if you were tight in front, well, then you were too tight. So that was the dilemma. With the lower downforce package, you're already loose. You don't need air in front of you. You don't care if there's air in front of you. The spoiler in front of you is only 3 inches. It's not affecting you. So the cars at Kentucky seem to be a little more stable in traffic. And what I mean by more consistent in traffic. They didn't have those big transitions from tight to loose that guys were having to fight through. So it'll be an interesting to see if moving forward a year from now, because we're going to have another opportunity with this drag package at Michigan. Remembering that we're going to be wide open throttle at Michigan, this package may work better. Some of the grace racing we see at Michigan is truck racing because of the high drag. It'll be interesting to see a year from right now if we go back with a completely opposite style package and just get rid of the downforce so that the transitions are a lot less when cars are in traffic versus cars being out in front.
A lot of guys are hammering on that. In particular, one that keeps coming to mind for me is Carl Edwards. He keeps saying, take it all away, take all the downforce away. And I don't know if we can get to that point, but he's making a point.
Yeah, he's been the most vocal about it, but a lot of drivers feel the exact same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what about on track? What went well this weekend in your opinion?
Years ago or earlier, 3 years ago, when NASCAR designed this chase format, they come up with some rules that I thought were intriguing. You got to have a win, get in the chase. Top 16 in points, get in the chase. If some guy happens to not run all these races, he needs to start all of them and then be top 30 in points. They had all these things set in place. We really didn't expect in today's day and age for a driver to get hurt as severe as Kyle Busch got in Daytona. But the rules that were implemented, the foresight that NASCAR had, is allowing the chase format to be showcased. Kyle Busch missed 11 races. Kyle Busch came back. He wanted to race. He said, it wasn't that I didn't want to. He wanted to race. He's now back in the close enough to the top 30. He's won his races, so the extreme of the chase format is really a good deal because we need Kyle Busch in the chase. We need him because obviously he's shown that he's a championship caliber driver. Joe Gibbs Racing now has all their teams with wins. That's a championship caliber team. When you show up at Chicago for race number 1 of the chase, you want them. I don't want to compete against them, trust me. As associated with the 2-car and Team Penske and Joey Logano and Brad, I would prefer if none of those guys were over. I just wish it was us. And
was selfish Joey comes back out again. Right, okay.
So, but because you want, when you win, and Brad wrote about it 3 weeks ago in a blog, when you win, you want the best people out there.
Yeah.
And right now, there's nobody better than Kyle Busch. So
you don't want to have an asterisk beside
exactly.
it.
He needs to be on the track, and this chase format is allowing, and again, the foresight for the people in Daytona that come up with it is showcasing how good idea it was, and for them to get back in the chase, missing 11 races.
Yeah, there are still some contrarian folks out there, though, who say, oh, he missed too many races, he shouldn't be allowed in it. But imagine if we got to the chase and a guy with 4, 5, however many wins didn't get in an era where we're being told that winning is everything. I think we've talked about this several times. The spirit of the rule was to keep a guy from saying, okay, I'm going to go try and win a wild card race like a Talladega or a road course and then qualify for the chase on the strength of that one win. That's what they were trying to avoid. So they've gotten past that. My on track, Kyle Busch. We've been talking about him all day. We showed you some of the stats from earlier in terms of how he's been doing along the way. 4 out of 5 is remarkable. 3 in a row is almost unheard of anymore. And this team is just on fire with mentioning that they've had 3 different rules packages along the way. Right now, the question is, can anybody stop him?
The only person right now to stop him is him. Okay. Last week we talked about the new Kyle Busch version 4.0. Okay,
Is that what we're on?
Well,
Yeah, okay,
it's
right.
been talked about.
Right.
We see a glimpse of Kyle Busch that people don't want to see anymore, and it was on Saturday after Victory Lane. He won the race and was still mad
about the Kyle Busch cautions.
Kyle Busch.
Yeah,
He references the Kyle Busch cautions. He has to understand that the cautions allowed him to win races before. The cautions are because there was debris. The people are showing it. But the anger that he has is a frustration. When you're on that team, again, you want him to be upset. Okay, you want him, just like Ryan Blaney finished second. I wanted Ryan Blaney to be upset about that because it means he cares.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch is he cares. We get it. So we're gonna see the only thing right now that's gonna stop Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch.
All right, we've got one more break here to take on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll look ahead to Pocono.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
The road to victory lane isn't just for drivers anymore. Introducing the official daily fantasy game of NASCAR at DraftKings.com, America's favorite daily fantasy sports site. Just pick a team of 5 drivers and stay under the salary cap. Outscore your opponents and win. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and use promo code COAST to play for free. You could win part of the $1 billion in prizes being awarded this year. Enter COAST to play for free now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Looking for a great spot for an affordable beach vacation or the perfect romantic retreat? Let the Plaza Resort and Spa help. A vacation on the world's most famous beach is sure to help you reconnect with the ones you love. Discover the grand tradition of hospitality and service on Daytona Beach. The Plaza Resort and Spa is the perfect choice for any type of getaway. Book online at plazaresortandspa.com or call 1-855-DB-PLAZA. That's 1-855-327-5292.
Hi, I'm Regan Smith. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday. Is that Joey Meier or Brad Spotter? Really? Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have to give him a hard time. How'd he get his own radio show? Wow.
Another wow. There you go. They just can't believe it.
Guys are all surprised.
They don't know you're a professional.
Well.
Yeah, it says so right on your headset.
Right there.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. So back to the tricky triangle this week. You love the entrance. They've smoothed the bump out. Going back to the, I guess we could say, standard rule package for 2015, what can we expect?
We love that race. The front stretch, again, we talk about it week in, week out. It's the longest front stretch in motorsports that we race on, which blows my mind because looking at the front straightaway and the back straightaway in Indy, they're extremely long. But knowing that the long straightaway at Pocono is longer than a runway I use over here at Lake Norman for an airplane.
Is it really?
Yeah, it gives you an idea. Wow.
That was subconscious. Okay.
It gives you an idea of how long it is. 3 distinct corners designed after 3 distinct racetracks. Historically, you can get online and see what tracks those are, but Milwaukee and Indy come to mind right away for 2 of the corners. We offer extremely fast speeds. Guys are shifting. We always look for a ton of action. Every once in a while, we see a driver grab a hold of that place and perform really well for both of those races because the rules haven't changed. Dale Jr.'s been able to sweep, I believe. Denny Hamlin's been able to sweep. Brad's come close to being able to sweep. We've won.
I always remember the one where he came back after the broken ankle.
Broken ankle, we won. We finished second to Dale Jr. last year. We run good there. We look forward to going back to Pocono. It is a very fast and technical track because of all three corners. You'll hear drivers giving up one corner to make up for the other corner. Because three corners are so different, you always have to be a little bit, again, you have to give up something to get something.
Absolutely, you do. We will have the Windows 10 400 from Pocono beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time on Sunday afternoon on the Motor Racing Network. Also from Pocono on Saturday, the Pocono Mountains 150. That comes your way at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon. We will also be in Iowa this weekend, the U.S. Cellular 250 Xfinity Series race from Iowa Speedway. Chris Buescher won that one last time. That starts at 7:30 Eastern Time Saturday night. So Saturday afternoon, Pocono for the trucks. Saturday night, the Xfinity Series from Iowa, and then Sunday afternoon, the Sprint Cup Series from Pocono. And that is such a better race. I'll say it and say it and say it when they cut it to 400 instead of a 500.
Yeah, there's a point in time that the length of the race becomes redundant. You want strategy to play out. You want guys to be able to work on their car, but after a while, there should be only a handful of races that are 500 or more miles, and we have those already. I'm glad Dover, Pocono, we got rid of 100 miles there. It was unnecessary.
Absolutely. You can play along with us all week long, anytime you want to on Twitter at MRN Radio. Use that hashtag AskMRN. Don't forget our fan forum hotline number, 844-4AskMRN, 844-427-5676. Want to thank our guests, Bobby Pierce, who took the Mittler Brothers truck to a second-place finish, and Kyle Larson, double duty, top tens in both. See you next week.
You've been listening to MRN Motorsports Monday. Tune in again next Monday at noon for all the latest news, results, and interviews from NASCAR on MotorRacingNetwork.com. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand at the MotorRacingNetwork.com Media Center or download it from iTunes or Stitcher. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.